Hi there, my name is Aya, you're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to do my fall TBR. I know a lot of people already did their fall TBR in August, but as I mentioned before, to me, August has nothing to do with fall, so it is the beginning of September, so I'm here with my fall TBR. I have 13 books that I really want to read this season. Some are anticipated releases, like my most anticipated releases for this time of year. Some I'm reading for vlog projects, and like others, I just feel like they really represent fall and I really want to get to them this season. Within fall, there's a couple vlogs I for sure will be doing. Let me grab my calendar. I really want to focus on reading Romantasy this season. I just feel like, I like reading Romantasy any time of year, but I feel like the fall, winter time, I've always loved reading fantasy books during those times. Also because they tend to be longer. In the summer, I just have a little bit less time to read because it's so sunny outside and I have more plans. I want to do another read and unhaul book video this season, which I'll leave the first one linked for you, my very first one. I'm going to be reading all the books I didn't get around to for that video. Not a lot of them. I'm not going to mention any of those books in this video. I really want to do like a cozy, witchy vlog. One of my favorite books of all time is The Ex-Hex, which is the epitome of a cozy, witchy book. So I want to read more of those. And of course, the Goodreads Choice Awards fall into the fall season. So the plan right now, I don't know if I can achieve that, is to do both the Goodreads Choice Awards for the romance category and the Romantasy. With the Romantasy, it's going to be structured differently since there's a lot of sequels there. So if you have any ideas of how I can still do a Goodreads Choice, like reading as many books for that video, then let me know. My plan for now is I think I want to do like the top 10 and just skipping the sequels where I have not read the books before it. I think that is the best way to do that. But if you have any other way for me to do it, let me know. So let's get started with my TBR. The first book I really want to read is Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. I've only read the first book in this series and I read it for the Goodreads Choice Awards of last year. And I liked it, but that book, which just wasn't my favorite, I was really looking forward to the next one, which was Lost and Lassoed. And the plan actually was to read it the month after, but I didn't get around to it. So I hope that this month this season I can get around to it. So this is the third book in that series. Follow Gus and Teddy. And they have been bickering back and forth in like the only book I read in this series. And they know each other through his sister and her best friend. She's basically like the go with the flow type of girl, and he is very strict, regimented. He also is a single dad, so he kind of has to have a plan and like a structure in his life. But he also needs a nanny, and the only one who has the time is Teddy, so this is gonna be their romance. I don't know what it is. I think it's the retro covers that really remind me of fall, and also I read obviously the last book during the fall time, so just thinking about my TBR and which books I really wanted to read, this one was like at the top of the list, so hopefully I can get around to it. Yeah, let's go through the 4 books I hope to get to in my Cozy Witch vlog. I don't know if I can get around to all 4, but they are very high priorities for me. The first one is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This one has been on my TBR for years and years and years, and I still haven't gotten around to it. In fact, the author's second book has recently come out, and I know that book has been pushed back and pushed back. So it just has been like ever since. Let me actually see when this book came out, because I have to tell you that is probably when it started on my TBR. Yeah, in 2022. So it has been on my TBR for 3 years. I feel like it is high time to finally get around to it. So this is the epitome of a cozy, witchy book. So she's an isolated witch because in this world, witches cannot really congregate. Like it is illegal for them to congregate. But what she does do is post these online witchy videos where she pretends to be a witch. And then this guy comes across her and he tells her that he needs her help with these 2 witches in his care. She goes there and realizes they are also actually witches, and like it is illegal for them to be together considering witches cannot congregate. So she kind of moves into this house and it's going to be her romance with this guy. I just have heard nothing but good things about this book. This book has over a it has a 4.05 average rating, and there's like over 300,000 ratings. So it is a very well-beloved book, and I really want to finally read it. The next one I really want to get to is The Spell Shop. This one, I have to tell you, I really love the covers for this series, especially the second book, which recently came out. I just was mesmerized by that cover. I have a feeling the second book will make it in the Goodreads Choice Awards, like in the Romantasy category. Before that, I really want to read The Spell Shop. And I believe you can read them in any which way, but since I also want to read The Spell Shop, I figured let me just read both of them. Although technically the second book is not on my fall TBR, but I mean, it will be if it's in the Goodreads Choice Awards. She's a librarian at the Great Library of Elysium, and she and her assistant, a magically sentient spider plant, have spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most precious spellbooks, preserving their magic for the city elite. But when a revolution begins and the library goes up in flames, she and Kaz, which is the spider plant, right? Yeah, flee with all the spellbooks they can carry and head to a remote island, Kiela. Never thought she'd see again, her childhood home. And there she, wants to make a life for herself. She starts making jam, but she uses like illegal magic to do it. And I'm sure she's gonna fall in love in the meantime. This sounds like very cozy and very fun. Next, even though I probably will be reading it for my cozy witch vlog, this is not really that cozy, but to me it feels cozy because it reminds me of Twilight. And I remember, like, I used to really like watch Twilight during fall and read, and I think I read those books during fall too. And I don't know, Twilight just screams fall to me, and this apparently is sort of like a Twilight fan fiction. So it's called Soft Flannel Hank by Eliza MacArthur. A lot of people that I follow like read this book around the time it came out, and I was very intrigued by it, but I have not gotten around to it. So Esther, who's a witch, a 35-year-old witch, she's not really satisfied with her life. She has an art degree with no job prospects. So she took a job bartending at a vampire-owned nightclub in Savannah. But then something happens where she has to flee. And then she finds herself in the path of Hank Dove, which apparently is very similar to Charlie Swan. You know, Hank Dove, Charlie Swan. He is 45, divorced, depressed, and trying therapy for the first time. And it's a romance. I really enjoy the fact that both of them are older characters. And I don't know, it just feels like, it's just a soft flannel Hank. Also like flannel, obviously very fallish. So yeah, I feel like it is not a typical cozy witchy book, which, I mean, I think that's fun for the vlog too. And the last one, hopefully I'll get to, and this I have to say is is the least on my priority list. I'm not 100% sure if I'll get to it, but it is Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. This is a witch werewolf romance, which, if you know anything about me, werewolves are my favorite paranormal creatures. So I really need, I wanted to sneak in a werewolf romance in there as well. So this is a fake relationship between a magicless witch and a wolf shifter. So it's also like second chance romance. They used to be together as teenagers. He broke her heart. Now she wants nothing to do with him, but they are forced to find mates, and they agree to fake date their way to a fake mating in order to conjure themselves more time. But of course, old feelings resurface, and it's gonna be their romance. This, even though I said this is like the least on my priority list, this reminds me the most of the X-Hex, so maybe it should go a bit higher on my priority list. Next is a book, hopefully I can get to it next week, actually, is Hunting Adeline. So I read Haunting Adeline last month, and I am doing a vlog reading this duology. So this is just like the second book in the the cat and mouse duet, where you follow Adeline and Zaid, and this is a stalker romance. He stalks her and she resists at first, but then obviously it's gonna turn into their romance. I don't really want to say too much about it because I don't want to spoil that vlog, but like this also feels very fallish, like Halloween-y to me. Obviously stalking. She lives in like this creepy mansion. There is a lot of like, especially in the plot department, a lot about like scary things like human trafficking, stuff like that. So yes, it technically, like, it's nowhere near a horror or anything, but it feels a bit thrillery, especially in the plot department. So I feel like that also is a good book to read during the fall. Okay, the next book is another book where hopefully I can do a vlog reading this entire series, and it's Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. Once again, this is a book that has been on my TBR for such a long time. and I still haven't gotten around to it. And I do know this series, like the catalyst for the beginning of this series is something that happened during Halloween, I think. And in the first book, you follow Michael and Rika. She did something during like this Devil's Night that ended up with Michael and two of his friends ending up in jail. And now they are after her for revenge now that they're out of prison. Yeah, very much a dark romance. It is an older one. This one came out in 2015, but like to this day, a lot of people still talk about this book, still read this series, and I want to be one of them. The cover is kind of creepy, and it feels like the perfect series to read around Halloween, so very excited about that one. The plan actually was to read this for a different vlog, but I kind of want to focus on finishing series, and I feel like the best way to do that is to read like an entire series in one vlog. So definitely let me know which series you want me to read for those kinds of vlogs, because I'm planning on doing more of those, because like for me, what tends to happen is I tend to read the first book and then I just don't get around to the second or third book for years because they don't really fit into vlogs. So yeah. Next is Sight and Sparrow. I have a big feeling that this will end up in the Goodreads Choice Awards as well. This is the third and final book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, which all follows like different serial killers. And this is Fionn and Rose's book, and their romance has been teased in the first and second book. And I read the first two books, definitely enjoyed both of them. So hopefully the third book will stick the landing as well. Now for two of my most anticipated new releases. The first one is Alchemized by Senlin Yu, obviously. This I've been looking forward to ever since I first heard about this story, basically. It was announced like a year ago, and I've been patiently waiting for it to finally be in my hands. It is a giant book, but I will be vlogging it and I cannot wait. So this story takes place after the war where the bad guy won, and you follow, what's her name? Helena. Her side lost, obviously, and now she's sold to the enemy. And they always thought that she was not that important because she was just a healer, but now she has memory loss, so they think that means that she knows something important. So the High Reeve, who she sold to get her memories, and also in this world, the pureblood families cannot get pregnant, so they're using the prisoners from the good guy camp to use them, abuse them, and impregnate them, basically. So yeah, this is gonna be the romance between Helena and the High Reeve, and it is like over 1,000 pages long. And the plan is to read it in 3 days. I don't know if I can, but I'm gonna try my hardest. Also, the cover, like this gothic looking cover, very much screams fall to me. Next is a werewolf romance that is coming out in October. It's obviously Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I read Bride and I vlogged it, and I did definitely enjoy that one. That was a vampire werewolf romance. This is a romance between two werewolves, and I think I think this is also one that was teased in the first book, but I don't remember it because that book came out in beginning of 2024, I think. Yeah, this is a romance between Serena, who's an orphan packless girl, and she's the first human were hybrid. And it's her romance with the Alpha of the Northwest Pack, Kuhn Alexander. He's into her, but she doesn't reciprocate his feelings, but of course gonna be that romance. I cannot wait. I felt like Ali really did like the werewolf romance really well in the first book, so hopefully this one will be just as good. And now for three romantasies that are very high on my priorities list. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, three. The first one is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillick. This one I was supposed to read when it came out, but for some reason I just didn't get around to it. I have a feeling this will end up in the Goodreads Choice Awards, so I think I'll read it for that, and if not, hopefully I can read it after. So this is about Sybil, who has spent 9 years dreaming of having no dreams at all. And she's a diviner. In her dreams, she receives visions from 6 unearthly creatures known as the Omens. And just as she and her sister diviners near the end of their service, a mysterious knight arrives at the cathedral. Rude, heretical, and devilishly handsome, the knight Roderick has no respect for Sybil's visions. But when fellow diviners begin to vanish one by one, she has no choice but to seek his help in finding them. Only the gods have the answer she's seeking, and as much as she'd rather avoid Roderick's dark eyes and sharp tongue, only a heretic can defeat a god. This sounds very good. I read what's that series called? the Shepherd King duology, and I really enjoyed it. I especially really loved her writing style, so I'm very much looking forward to this one. Next is Quicksilver. The second book actually comes out in October, I believe, Brimstone. And I haven't gotten around to Quicksilver yet, so once again, the plan is to read both Quicksilver and Brimstone in the same vlog. Yeah, I cannot wait to read this one. But no, it comes out in November, sorry. Which actually is during the Goodreads Choice Award, so that is kind of not ideal. But Quicksilver is a very popular romantasy. A lot of people read and loved it last year. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know that there's like this hot guy named Kingfisher in it that a lot of people are swooning over, and I'm sure I will be swooning over him too. And this actually came in 3rd place in the last Goodreads Choice Awards for the Romantasy category, so I have pretty high hopes for this one. And the last book I'm really looking forward to is Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair. And I read one Scarlett St. Clair. It was the first book in her like Hades and Persephone series, and I wasn't the biggest fan of that series, but this one has been getting so much hype, and also from people who didn't love that series, like the Hades and Persephone series I talked about. So I really want to try this one, and once again, I do hope this one will show up in the Goodreads Choice Award so I can read it, and if not, I'm gonna make an effort to get around to it on my own. So this, you follow Lilith, who finds refuge in Nineveh, a district city of Eden devoted to sin. There she uses her magic to seal for a living, attracting the attention of the 5 governing families as well as the church, which expects women to remain pious and silent. When Lilith comes into possession of a beautiful blade, she thinks all her worries are over until her usual buyer dies while inspecting it. Frantic Lilith turns to the only man who can help her, Zahariv, head of the Zareth family and ruler of Nineveh. And this is gonna be that romance. Like I said, a lot of people really love this book, so hopefully I will too. And this also like just screams fall to me, fall, winter, so yeah. Hopefully I can get around to all of them. I am notorious for never really finishing my TBR, but I feel like this is a curated list of books that I know I'll be reading for vlogs if I can. So I'm not saying I'll get to all 13 of them, but I hopefully can get to at least 10 of them. So wish me luck on that. Also, I would really love to know, what are your plans? Like, what are your reading plans this fall? Like, which books? Like, give me like a top 3 of your books you're for sure gonna make an effort to read this fall season. Also, even though it's probably not good for my TBR, definitely let me know if you have any fall recommendations for me. Maybe I can squeeze one in there if I have the time. And if you're down there, leave me, leave me some leaves emojis for the fall season. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.